to have a conversation that we've actually had, just change gears a little bit, change lanes. We've talked about younger guys, second, third year guys taking a bigger step on the offensive side of the ball. How about the other side of this coin, the defensive side of the ball? And really, I've looked at 3 different guys that are going to be second-year players. If you have another name you want to throw in there, certainly welcome to it to add the conversation. Same thing for the tribe out there. If you have somebody on the defensive side you want us to consider taking a big step, hit us up, 303-713-1043. Between Jonah Elliss, Dondre Tillman, and Chris Abrams-Drain. Now, KAD, he might be the odd man out here because of reps and time played and all those things, but a couple of pass rushers that made their presence felt early last year, both of which got to at least 5 sacks, one of a handful of players for the Broncos to reach that number last year, and that's also with limited reps from them. So I'm looking at Jonah and Tillman here as the 2 guys that, all right, I'm going to expect something from them. Jonah more than Tillman, but I still think he can find a role for him. And then the other question here is, will either of them will they take a big enough step to take snaps away from a guy like Jonathan Cooper, who got paid?
Right.
But Jonah Elliss is that young guy and you've said it a bunch, I don't even think he knows how good he can be. So
right.
I think Jonah's in line for a pretty big step if he gets opportunities, but that means less Jonathan Cooper.
Yeah, less Jonathan Cooper, or maybe breathers for Nick Bonito.
Okay.
I mean, where's the Nick Bonito contract in this conversation? Because if they pay Bonito, you're like, okay, well, just Cooper and Bonito and then those guys all day and maybe a little bit of a breather, and that's where Dondrea comes on the field or Jonah comes on the field. Outside of that, they're really just the waves of pass rushers that you can bring. Because if Ellis were to get 9 sacks, do you go, oh, maybe he needs to be the starter opposite Jonathan Cooper? I mean, that's part of the conversation. You draft a Jonah Elliss so that you're ready in case things get too pricey for Nick Bonito or he just gets away from you. I know fans don't want to hear that, but that's how things happen in the draft. You draft to develop and then to eventually replace your highest paid players with cheaper players. And, of course, Jonah Elliss will have his second year, so his contract will be coming up. But either way, that talent is there and the upside is there with Jonah Elliss. And I think he is a double-digit sack guy eventually. When he's a starter, he's essentially what you had in Shaq Barrett, where Shaq Barrett was just kind of hanging around, and you never really gave him the opportunity. And then he led the NFL in sacks when he left.
Yeah, when he had the opportunity.
Yes. I don't want Ellis to leave. He's got 6 moves to get after the passer. It's a rare trait, a rare skill. He knows how to stack moves, which means he does the first one, it doesn't work. He immediately goes to a second one based off of that first move, so it's like he's got double moves ready to go. I want to see the upside with him in this future, but I don't know if Cooper and Bonito there, if Bonito gets paid, there's not going to be much of a role other than reserve role.
I know this is hindsight, and it's always easy to have that conversation in hindsight. Would they have waited on Jonathan Cooper's money? Had they known about Jonah and Tillman?
No. Cooper is so strong in terms of keeping contained. He can force the run back inside of him. He's not a liability. You can still, and you're not as successful as you used to be, so don't get offended here, Broncos country, but you can still run at Nick Bonito. He does overrun plays because he's trying to get to the quarterback. Okay, so with Cooper, you're not going to get that. You're not going to get that. And he's a lunch pail guy, and he shows up, and he's a hard hat guy, so you want those guys around, and you didn't pay an exorbitant amount to get Jonathan Cooper well paid.
I'm actually looking at his contract now, and this, again, when we talk about rich people problems, this is what the Broncos would have if this scenario plays out. Ellis, Tillman, a couple years to develop. Maybe after the end of this year, you're like, well, they're trending in the right direction.
Yeah.
Well, right now, Jonathan Cooper's salary is only 5.6, right? Only. I'd love to make that 5.6, but the cap hit's crazy. Dead cap of $23 million. Next year, he gets a raise to 11.4. The cap comes down a little bit at 17.2. So he's not going anywhere for a couple years. After 2027, his salary continues to go up, and it actually lives at just south of $13 million for both of those final 2 years, but his dead money is completely gone. 4.8 in 27 and just 2.8 in 2028. So again, rich people problems is what we're talking about here. You get to the 2027 season and Ellis and Tillman have flashed and you go, man, they have made it impossible for us to keep them off the field. well, you eat $4.8 million and you say, Jonathan Cooper, thanks for the time. See you later. Good luck moving forward.
Yeah, I think this is more of a situation where you try to keep it together as long as possible, and you eke out whatever you can at the end. Injuries happen, want everyone to stay healthy, but this is something to mark and just look at. And with Tillman, it's like, what upside is there left? And I think there's unknown upside with Tillman as well. Ellis is the draft pick. Tillman, of course, coming from the UFL. I think both have starter potential in this league. And you might have to lose some guys. Again, you had to lose Shaq Barrett, and that's why I always did the Bradley Chubb thing. You chose Bradley Chubb over Shaq Barrett.
Wrong choice.
And Barrett, that first year with Tampa, his contract, $4 million.
Oh, God. Yeah. That was the year he led the league in sacks?
Yes.
Oh.
And then he got paid because he signed a one-year deal with Tampa.
Ooh.
That's how unwanted he was around this league. Don't make the same mistake with Jonah Elliss.
Yeah, and Tillman, I actually thought Tillman might be a little older. He just turned 27, like less than a month ago. A little over a month ago.
Yeah.
So there's still plenty in that tank, too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so yeah, I think, again, like I said, I hope it's rich people problems. With Chris Abrams' reign, we're both on the same page. You just got pushed down the depth chart with the Barron draft pick, so it's the talent is there. I just don't know how much he's going to get to play.
Well, and what you're waiting for is Jaquan McMillan for him to be gone next year, and then KAD steps up into that role where he's like the fourth corner. But the talent is there. I wasn't a super big fan of the pick, mainly because he's a little bit smaller as a player. But, man, is he feisty. I'm not going to say Chris Harris because he's like Chris Harris. No, not every small corner is a feisty Chris Harris. But KAD's got a little bit of that dog in him, and I like that. So I want to see more.
Okay. I like that a lot. Anytime you can compare a cornerback in this city to Chris Harris Jr., I think they're on the right track, no matter where they are.
But does Chris compare him to Chris? That's the thing.
That's a good question.
Probably not.
Probably not, yeah. If you're Chris, you probably don't want to compare anybody to you, do you?
Maybe. Chris is very honest in his assessment of things, but he also knows how good he was.
Yeah.
Like, he was damn good.
He was so damn good. Now, he still did that incomplete thing, which I didn't like, but at least you got a little more skins on the wall to steal John's term than Riley does. All right, also want to remind you about what's happening on June 12th. That's coming up a week from Thursday up at Todd Creek. Go watch the guys. Go hang out with the guys. Support the guys. Stokely and Zach. They're battling each other for a great cause. We turned a little friendly competition, or got a little friendly competition out of this contest here. They're going to play 100 holes of golf. Stokely did it last year for A Precious Child. He's going to do it again for A Precious Child, which is an organization that supports kids in need by providing them with everything they need from diapers to clothing, sports scholarships, and mentorships to help them succeed in the workforce. That's Stokes' organization. ZB, he's playing for Recruiting Classroom. That helps kids play sports from the age of curiosity to college. All children and adolescents, regardless of zip code or ability, should have access to high-quality sport activities that allow them to develop, and that's exactly what Recruiting Classrooms does. Both great organizations, rooting for both to reach their goal of $10,000, but it is a little friendly competition. So who are you going to side with? StokelyCares.com to support Stoke, ZachBuyCares.com to support Zach. Every dollar you donate goes to helping kids here in Colorado, and it doesn't matter if it's $1, $100, or $1,000. Every single cent matters. So if you go to StokelyCares.com or ZachBuyCares.com and donate a cent, $1, $5, $10, whatever you can, it's going to go to a great cause. And let's see how these guys handle 100 holes of golf. Can't wait to hear some of the stories from that